All right, testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. We are live. Facebook. This is Sister Melanie, and we are here at Harambee Market. I'm going to have to ask that those who are listening, if you can give us a thumbs up, if you can hear us okay. We're in a different location, and so, I'm in Harambee Market, but the last show was at a different location, so I'm just trying to make sure that you can hear us. I'm pretty sure it's clear, but give me a thumbs up or something if there's any distraction whatsoever. All right. Well, welcome. Thank you, thumbs up. I see you. Welcome to this new platform that I have created. And I want to give thanks to the Creator, and I want to give thanks to this healing residency that's been occurring here, because it allowed me to open up and to be able to create this audio broadcast. All right. And last week we spoke to C. Marie, who is facilitating a healing residency here at Harambee Market. She's been here maybe 3, maybe 4 weeks. She has a couple of more weeks to go, and it's going to be hard for me to let her leave. And but we'll talk to her before the show is over. I want to shout out to everybody who is listening. And again, if you can hear me clearly, great. If you can't, just, give me a little note, say something that you can't hear me or the music is drowning me out, and we'll make whatever adjustments that we need to. So this evening, the show is going to start at 8, but we are so grateful that Sister Penelope Stewart, had a meeting, and so she has arrived. She has come from her meeting, which she may talk about, and met her several years ago, and I have come back in contact with her in the last couple of weeks, because I think she came out to one of the workshops that C. Marie has been putting on. And then prior to that, I think Penny did come through the shop, and she shared with me her work that she is doing with narcissistic abuse awareness. Okay? Narcissistic abuse awareness. Some of that may sound familiar to you. Some of this, it may be new to you. I was just all in, because her passion for it is all in. So I want to introduce to you, she's sitting across this table from me, Miss Penelope Stewart, and we call her Penny, right?
Yes.
Hey Penny, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for having me, Sister Melody.
Well, thank you for being here, sis. I appreciate you so much. Before we get started, well, we've gotten started, but can you tell us just a little bit about you? Are you from here?
Yes, I'm from Arkansas. Originally from Little Rock, Arkansas, but my family roots are here in North Little Rock, Arkansas. I lived here mostly all my life. I lived in other places, but I come back here. My roots are deep here. I recently just received a bachelor's in metaphysics, science. That has been interesting. That really led me on this healing journey. Little did I know the universe was taking me down this road.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it that you said healing journey, because you are on a healing journey, and a lot of us are on healing journeys, and to be able to express and feel free to share that testimony, because you have a testimony.
I sure do.
But you're saying it with a smile on your face. It seems like it's not a burden to you anymore. It's not a heavy weight.
It's not. Because first it started off as displaced anger. I didn't know where it was coming from until I started doing the healing work on my family and calling on the ancestors. My sister gave me a call and said, hey, mom has narcissistic personality disorder. Okay. And I started looking at the family dynamics of the scapegoat, the lost child, the golden child. I fit right in, classical scapegoat.
Wow.
My mom was a classical narcissist.
So give me a definition of what that means.
That's somebody who is very dominating, emotionally abusive. Whenever I wanted to believe in myself that I could do something, I was always giving those signals that I wasn't good enough.
Now, I have printed out some information. I'm just going to read a few questions because it says if you answer yes to 2 or more questions above, then you may need professional help. And I was like, I think I can say yes to one.
Yeah.
And I kind of question the second one.
Okay.
Is your family dysfunctional?
Yeah.
Are you depressed or suicidal? Do your loved ones abuse you mentally, physically, and emotionally? And are you bullied by family, friends, or spouse? And do you commonly choose to engage in abusive relationships? Now, to some people, this is a normal family dynamic.
It is not normal whatsoever.
And this is how you grew up. I mean, how many of these can you check off out of that?
I can check off all of them.
Maybe even more.
Probably even more. Because when I grew up, I went on to go into more narcissistic relationship, toxic relationship with men. My first daughter's father was a drug dealer. And with that comes a toxic environment. So I was abused physically,
right,
mentally, emotionally with the infidelities. I went on to marry another narcissist. He was a recovering alcoholic, a substance abuser as well.
So now, did you see any of that now? Like now, the blinders are off. Yeah. But going into, I'm imagining you're maybe in your 20s at the time.
Yeah.
And they were cute, or they had money, or they had. So did it not matter that those situations were occurring? Or did it just seem normal?
It just seemed normal. In fact, in my family, it was kind of encouraged. You know, my mom encouraged those relationships with those type of men.
Right.
You know, so it was normalized to me.
So if there was a brother that didn't have any of that energy, was nice and pleasant, not abusive, you might not even been attracted to him.
Probably not. I would have probably thought, because I did have good relationships like that, and I sabotaged every last one of them. I sabotaged. You self-sabotage too. So I went out with some really good guys, and I self-sabotaged them because I was accustomed to abuse. It happens.
But I can only speak for Black women, and I'm going to only speak for Black women, and I can't speak for all Black women, but for the most part, a lot of sisters do have that experience. And again, they think it's normal, or even can be turned on by it just a little bit,
Yeah.
But it's not so much a relationship that we're talking about with narcissism with man and woman, but it's also the dynamics, of your family as well.
Adverse childhood experience. If you're growing up in poverty, it breeds these type of behaviors. It breeds these type of.
Say that again. If you're growing up, how?
In poverty.
Okay.
And now medical science is calling adverse childhood experience. It's linked to all types of heart diseases, high blood pressure, diabetes. It can affect you. Scientists also say that emotional trauma is the same thing as a slap or punch. So this thing is real. This energy, this toxic environment is real, and it can have an effect on our health. So
I told you this last week when you came to the shop. I remember when I first met you, and I think you remember how we first met. There was a community event that was going on, real good event. Brother came and spoke, and we were all there. And I asked you, could I speak freely? And I said, sister, when I first met you, you just seemed to be mad and angry. And you were trying to figure out where to deposit all of that. And as we were talking about economics in our community, trying to build economically, trying to build Black businesses, etc., I know you had some input, you had some ideas, but it seemed to frustrate you because Black folks weren't doing what we thought needed to be done. And then after that, I didn't see you anymore.
That's right.
And so what happened to make you get to the point where you realized it was what we're talking about now?
It was me. It was the inner work. It's us. The work starts with us. If we want our community change, I had to look at myself. I had to do some changes in myself and start loving myself before I could even start loving my brothers and sisters.
Sure.
I had to realize that pain. It's so clear now because it's transgenerational trauma. And quite naturally, we will be under this trauma because our ancestors suffered up under the worst conditions.
So you're saying what happened to your grandmother, because we did speak about that. You said your grandmother.
My grandmother
had issues.
Yeah, she was raped as a child.
Wow.
She her mother was abusive to her, and her mother, which is my great grandmother, she endured some trauma too. I think she was raped, and she endured a whole bunch of trauma as well.
In those days, nobody said anything.
Nobody.
You probably knew the rapist, as much like today.
Yeah.
The family knew him. It's not like the person just went away into the dark.
Yeah.
They had to face and see that person every day. And so this was being passed along. But you have children too.
I have children too, and I have talked to them about it. And my oldest daughter, that's funny you mentioned that. My oldest daughter said, "Oh, Mom, I can see the changes in you. You're just so positive, and you're so empowering, you know." So, yeah.
You are positive. You are empowering. And I have seen the growth too, sis. I really have. And I was just so happy that something you saw here that triggered you to come back to Harambee Market.
But, I played that out in the universe in my head. I did not like the first encounter that we had. And I said, you know what? I am not that person, and I need to exude that. So hopefully when I come back in contact with Sister Melanie, she'll feel
so
that.
Sweet. But it wasn't like that, though. It wasn't personal
it was
towards
for me. It was a means for me.
Sure.
It was for my healing journey. It was, this is about me. You know what I'm saying? My healing journey. And if I touch others on down the road, then, I'm doing what the universe allows me to do. I'm doing what the ancestors allows me to do.
Give thanks.
Yeah.
Well, sis, let me catch everybody up. You're listening to Harambee Market. This is an audio broadcast. We are at 2104 Harambee Market live right here. We're not live where you can see us on the camera. You have to listen in. So thank you all, those of you who are listening. We like likes and we love hearts. It just gives us a warm little fuzzy feeling. So if you are hearing us, go ahead and tap, 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 and let us know that you're here. Speaking this evening with Penny Stewart. We call her Penny. I met her as Penny. And she is sharing her testimony of her healing from a narcissistic parenting, narcissistic environment. I've always understood a narcissist to be someone who, all their attention is about me, wants all the light to be shined on them. But for you to talk about it in this way, where it is an abuse that was onto you and how you grew up in that environment, and then you decided, you know what? Well, who introduced the term to you in the first place?
It was my sister.
You said your sister.
My sister was having some problems in her relationship, and her fiance didn't know. He didn't know what to do, so he called us and said, "Hey, she has this anger and this silent treatment, and I don't know what to do. I love your sister, but I don't know what to do." And she began to do some research, and she said, she got to talking to me. We hadn't talked like in years.
Is she here, Arkansas as well?
No, she's in Georgia.
Okay.
And when she said she narcissistic, she said that to me, and she started sending me some links on the information. It really shifted my paradigm. My whole, the walls just came crumbling down, but reality, because I disassociate. When you're in abuse, you are a victim, a survivor. I'm not going to say victim, a survivor of trauma. We tend to disassociate. And what I was doing is putting, and narcissists, they mirror their behavior onto you. So if they're petty or, belittling, they're going to say, you're that. Okay. It's a mirror. And so trauma survivors, we tend to put mirror our goodness onto the narcissist. You see?
So give me an example of that.
Even though, sometimes she'll say, and narcissists, they really don't think that much of themselves. That's why they do the things that they do. She will often say, "Oh, I'm not a good parent." And me not thinking about the abuse, I'm like, "Oh, Mom, you're here now." I was finding ways to encourage her.
Okay.
So
this is when you were, obviously when you're an adult.
Yeah.
You found out about it. Okay.
And so I would mirror that. I would just disassociate. The behavior becomes so normalized, and you become so afraid of making the narcissist mad because you seen that anger, you seen that explosion.
Mm-hmm.
You've learned to tiptoe around addressing the narcissist, personally.
Okay, now I know that, and we'll talk about that. You have a workshop coming up on the 10th.
Yeah.
For people that want to get more information.
Yes.
But just so I'm a little bit more clear, and maybe those that are listening are a little bit more clear, give me an example of what that looks like in a household, or it looked like in your household when you were young. I know the questions that we read, if you checked off 2 out of 5, well, give me an example of what that behavior actually looks like.
A narcissist in the house, you'll have one child that's blamed for everything.
Child that's blamed for everything.
And it's called the scapegoat. Use the scapegoat will often run away from home, not want to be at home. That the scapegoat is really the one that stands up to the narcissist. Okay. And so the narcissist has to do everything in their power to not look bad and get the rest of the family to go against the scapegoat.
Okay, and give me another example, something that maybe you experienced that you remember.
You're neglected.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really part of the family. There's smear campaigns on you where the whole family, the scapegoat gets the whole family against you, not just the immediate family, but the whole entire family.
Wow.
They kind of shun you.
Mm-hmm.
If you show any emotions, because that happened to me too. When I would try to tell my mom how I felt, I was denied feelings. Like, you are not supposed to feel. You feel numb in there too. You feel numb because you're not allowed to express any type of emotions. If you do, it is met with rage and fit. You want something to cry about, I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
And that's so normal in our homes. And I can imagine as a girl, not being able to show emotions, but boys are raised, you can't show emotions, suck it up, shut up, and you're right. If you keep crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about. So what do you do? Where do you deposit all this information? What do you do with it? And not knowing what you know now, so thankful that you were able to find help for the trauma that you experienced. But I think what I'm getting from it is that it's not normal. And I do have my opinion about, how we raise our children in our community. We beat the shit out of our children. And I know we applaud that. We applaud that.
I think we need to go back to the drawing board. And that's another reason why I started this group. We need to question how we're parenting our children.
Right. I've seen young girls or anybody with babies, and the first thing they will tell you is that baby is bad. That's the first word that they will put. He bad. She bad. I mean, the baby ain't even 1 year old. How do you get bad out of a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old?
They start the
or even when they
early.
get early, they start the projection early. And then when they get 2 or 3 or 4, when we were young, when you went inside the store, you can't touch nothing, you can't look at nothing, you can't ask for nothing, you can't want for nothing, you can't desire nothing, you can't think about nothing, you can't see nothing, you can't hear nothing. And it's like, oh my God. And then when we see other communities who let their children wander and explore, and you're like, they just let their kids do anything. But to me, I kind of look at it like, it's a science to it, because they're taking ownership of their environment and they're not being boxed into something. And I also looking back when we were enslaved, when you went in the master's house, you can't touch nothing, you can't look at nothing, you can't ask for nothing, don't look at him. And that also, that trauma
again is being passed down. And this is epigenetic. Scientists already say that trauma that our ancestors experienced, it was passed on to us. A lot of us are mentally ill and we don't even know it.
Yeah, I think we talked about that in C. Marie's show. We were talking about just mental illness. There's so many levels of mental illness. And, they do say in the black community that we don't seek help, but I don't think that's true. I think we seek help. I mean, I don't know, but the numbers on that. I think we seek help.
I'm going to tell you this. The narcissist, if they're a classical narcissist, narcissists do not seek help. They stay in denial.
Okay.
And it doesn't matter what religious background they are, where they come from, their status or anything. A real narcissist is not going to get help. They are going to stay in denial. And that's why if you are a survivor of narcissistic abuse, you need to have tools such as knowing about boundaries, knowing about how to detach. You know, if you don't want to go no contact, low contact, what to say, how, you know, how to speak to them, because there's different ways you need to know how to speak to them too. You never want to speak to them directly because you don't want to incite any type of violence or anything. So you really need to know how to deal with these people. Most men are narcissists, you know, by scientific studies, but you know, I think it's different. I think there's a lot of women out there too. It's just has not been studied, because in this walk I've seen a whole bunch of people that have narcissistic mothers and fathers.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, it's a new term for me, and I'm sure it's a new term for a lot of people in our community. So tell us about on February the 10th. What do you have going on in the community for that?
February 10th, we're going to be meeting in Jacksonville, Arkansas at the Esther Dixon Library at 2 p.m. That's going to be on a Sunday. And I'm bringing all the survivors together to talk about healing methods.
What time on that Sunday?
2 o'clock.
2 p.m. to?
2 p.m. to about 4.
4, okay. So that is Sunday? Or is Sunday the 10th?
I think
Sunday, check the calendar. February the 10th, I thought was a Saturday.
It could be a Saturday.
So but it is on the 10th, right?
Okay.
So
It
maybe
is
not.
on the 10th.
Okay, so that's going to be a Saturday, I think.
Let me check it.
Double check, I could be wrong. Well, thank everybody for listening in.
February 10th. Oh, it is on a Saturday.
Okay, so your meeting's on a Saturday, not a Sunday. Okay, so it's going to be on a Sunday at the Esther Dixon.
It's on a Saturday. You said Sunday.
I'm getting it mixed up.
That's okay.
Now. Okay. All right, I'm going to speak slow and try to gather my thoughts. Esther Dixon Library, Jacksonville, Arkansas. I don't have the address. Do you know the address of that? If not, we have this social media device. You can just Google it. Esther Dixon Library, Sunday.
Saturday,
February the 10th, 2 p.m. until maybe 4 p.m. Do you have a number or someone we can call? Or information
you can give me a call.
Okay, what's your number?
501-398-4878.
Okay, one more time, please.
501-398-4878.
So if you have questions or you concerns, or if you want more information about the work Penny is doing in regards to the narcissistic abuse awareness, thank you. We got an address for Esther Dixon. It's 703 West Main, and that's going to be in Jacksonville, Arkansas. Okay, 703 West Main, Jacksonville, Arkansas. And guess what day it's on? It's on a Saturday, February the 10th, starting at 2 o'clock. And you can call Penny at 501-398-4878. Also, I want you guys to know that this show is being sponsored by Sound Breath Light. We are going to talk a little bit about that in closing. But Sound Breath Light is not only helping to sponsor this, but it's also helping to produce this audio broadcast. So I'm very grateful for that. Penny, is there anything that you want to share with us before we kind of segue?
No, I just enjoy the work that Sister Marie is doing. I love her book.
Yeah, you came and you got a book. Now, were you able to get into that a little bit?
Yeah, especially when she said that trauma. Trauma was a gift, and where that fear comes. Fear. I love her talking about that fear, because she talks about where fear comes from. So, Sister Marie is the bomb.
Yes, she is. And speaking of Sister Marie, she has just pulled up to the table. Hey, Sister Marie.
Hey.
Sister
Welcome
Melanie,
back.
Sister Penny, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, we know we've had the pleasure of having you here since January the 6th. And, Your time is slowly winding down.
Yeah.
And you know what, Penny? I think I'm going to kidnap her.
That's okay. Go ahead.
And keep her here forever. Even though I've shared that with the community.
I don't blame you.
You'll never catch me. You'll never get me. So she has one more workshop coming up, also on the 10th, on Saturday the 10th. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
9
But no. I'm sorry,
no.
you guys. I'm getting my days
Not the
mixed up.
10th, It's on
Third.
the
Okay,
third.
for the 3rd. Okay,
Day
so
after tomorrow.
you all know that Marie is here for the healing residency, right? She is an author. Her book is Healing Fear and Trauma with Pranayama and Qigong. We've talked about that. You can, look at some videos and things that we've talked about this book. But this Saturday on the 3rd, she will be presenting her last Feminine Mysteries class. Now, she had a 3-part, and that's completed. But if you didn't get a chance to go to that 3-part, then you can just take it all in one day, and that's going to be this Saturday here at Harambee Market, 2104 Main, from 9 to 4:30. Or if you did come out of the 3 and you missed one of the workshops, then you can come to Saturday as well, correct, Marie?
Yes.
Or if you came to all 3, you enjoyed yourself immensely, you got so much out of it. If you want to come again to kind of peep in and refresh yourself on a little bit, then she's offering you that as well. That's this Saturday, the 3rd, from 9 to 4:30 p.m. Is that correct? And Penny, you're going to be attending that workshop.
It's on my healing journey.
It's a part of her healing journey, because this healing journey is real. And, it is about healing yourself. So I know I'm one of those people that I'm always kind of, when people want to save the children, have you saved yourself? You know what I'm saying? We got to do this for the kids, but have you done it for yourself?
Yes.
Because that's how it transfers over.
Right.
And I know a lot of us are gung-ho to go in and work with young people. I work with young people. But if you haven't, or you're not balancing the work you're doing with them and the work you're doing for yourself, and then you wonder, why are our children the way they are? Well, why are you the way you are?
Exactly.
Hello. I ain't no doctor or no scientist with no degree. I'm just stating how I understand things to be. So that's what has been offered here with C. Marie. That's what's being offered with Miss Penny Stewart. And many of you who I know out there are offering some things as well. And I definitely hope to have you on this audio broadcast. So Marie, tell us a little bit about the 3rd for those who may want to come out.
The 3rd will be the day-long workshop of the Feminine Mysteries, and there are several parts. I probably won't be able to remember all of them here right now, but I know for the first part of the day, we'll be going into the mysteries and the magic of menstruation, and talking about how to balance those hormones to get our menstruation under control, to have a pain-free and joyous menstruation.
Okay.
Alleviate how to alleviate those symptoms of bloating, cramping.
Naturally,
right? Through exercise, through breathing, through meditation, all different types of avenues that we do have at our disposal. Because it is not natural for your menstruation to be painful. It's not natural for you to bleed excessively and for long periods of time. We just become accustomed to it.
We just think that's just how it should be.
Right, and it just gets passed on generationally to, what do we call it? The curse. It's actually called the curse. When it's actually the gift and the blessing that we as women have. So we'll be going into that. We'll be talking about our moon centers. I'll be explaining what those are, and how we can use them to control our emotions, to get, because and another thing that people get a little bit confused about when thinking about tools such as meditation or philosophies such as, Buddhism or Taoism, that those particular teachings try to eradicate the ego or eradicate emotions. On the lower level, it may seem that way, but once you get into the higher realms of the teachings, it's about controlling those emotions and controlling the ego. Because the ego is part of us, is part of humanity. If you didn't have an ego, as Brother Panic says, you wouldn't be human. You wouldn't be here.
Shout out to Brother Panic.
Right, shout out Panic.
Well, I'm looking through your book, Marie, and I did say this at the last broadcast. It's a very easy read. Not easy because, I mean, it just, for anyone can open it up and understand it. It's not like I need to get a dictionary or I need to get a resource book just to read it, because it flows very well. It reads very well. Just simple things. One title is The Sickness as the Medicine. What's that about?
That's about seeing your sickness as a gift as well as a blessing.
Okay.
And particularly, it doesn't go in depth about it, but what made me talk about it a little bit was that I used to study these healers from South Africa when I began my dream work. They were called Sangomas, and they're like natural healers, bush women generally. And how they are called to heal is they get very, very sick. And nothing that they do conventionally can heal that sickness. And what they find is that the only way that they can heal themselves is to recognize that they were called to heal others.
Wow.
And through that calling, that's how they become healed themselves. And then they go on, they make a pact with themselves, not with anybody else. They don't swear allegiance to anybody but themselves, to come out of that sickness reborn and rebirthed by that sickness, and they heal others through that.
Oh, wow, that is heavy. That's deep, but that is one of the chapters in her book, which is Healing Fear and Trauma with Pranayama. And explain Pranayama again for us.
Pranayama is the science of the breath.
Science of the breath.
Just
and
learning how to breathe correctly.
Okay,
and
breathe
Qigong
correctly.
is just, it's actually like the parent of Tai Chi. So
Okay.
it combines Tai Chi with breath work and with visualization techniques.
All right. Well, you have a lot that you have shared. So grateful. I bow down to both of you women. We are just in the beginning stages. I bow down to those of you who are listening to us live. And we got a thumbs up because I think I'm going to be able to download these and share them on YouTube, right?
Yes, we
Got
will.
some people working on that, which would be great because who knows how long this audio thing is going to last. I mean, I'm sure it's going to last a while, but I definitely want to make sure I archive what we have. And sponsorships as well. If you want to sponsor a segment, if you want a nice shout out, definitely want to shout out to Marie and her work and what she's doing. But you also go under the Sound Breath Equals Light too.
Sound plus breath equals light, or just soundbreathlight.com.
Okay, and that's where we can find your book. So if you want to get a hold of her book, you can go to soundbreathlight.com. We'll add all of that in the comments, because this is not your only book, Marie. I peeped your website. Marie has about 5 books that she's ready to share, right? I don't know how soon. They're coming. Okay, so she has about 5 books on deck. So she is real about this science. So I want to thank you again, Penny. I want to remind everybody that on February the 10th, which is a Saturday, you will have, what is the title of the workshop that you're going to have?
Narcissistic Abuse Survivor Support Group.
Okay, Narcissistic Abuse Survivors Support Group. And guess what? I'm assuming even if you're kind of thinking maybe questioning it, you can go just to have some basic questions and concerns.
That's right.
Answered, okay? And that is at the Esther Dixon Library, 703 West Main in Jacksonville, Arkansas. You can get in touch with her at 501-398-4878. I'm Melanie. My number is 501-952-2125 if you want to reach out to me for whatever reason or inbox me. Marie, we have somewhere we can get in touch with you?
Area code 312-438-4958.
All right, I think that's all for tonight, for this evening. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just got a little tidbit of some of the journey that these sisters are on. So thank you so much, Penny. I'm going to make sure I share as best I can all the information that you have. Because outside of that, what else do you do? There's some other work that you do.
I do spiritual work as well. I do readings, angel card readings. I write and author books as well.
Okay.
Don't you have an ebook?
Yeah, I have an ebook too. I have a free ebook of my abuse.
Okay.
And the spiritual experiences I experience through the abuse.
All right.
So if anyone is interested in the free ebook, you can call me and
we'll try to put your information on there as well. So how's the relationship with your mother and the family members?
I have went no contact. For me, some people go low contact. I chose to go no contact until I do my healing.
Okay.
This is all about me right now. And when I feel like I'm strong enough to have a relationship with them and I have all the tools I need, then maybe
That's
maybe.
A lot of people may not understand that, but it is about the first law of nature is self-preservation. And if you keep going back into that environment and you're not strong enough, it may pull you right back in and take you down.
Yeah.
Because you are light as a feather, you're bright as a feather, and I'm so appreciative of you, and I thank you so very much.
I thank you, Sister Melanie.
All right, everybody, we're going to end this. I hope you're having a wonderful evening. Please share, please like and love. If you have any questions, concerns, or complaints, send me an inbox message. But until next week, and I already have my guest aligned for next week. Yay! We'll look forward to it. And this show is just not all about health and wellness. We'll also talk about entrepreneurship, black business owners in and around Central Arkansas. So we're definitely going to get into their stories about how they got started. You'd be surprised. Everybody's not traditional with how they do business. Some of the most booming businesses in this community came through non-traditional avenues. So there's hope for everybody, right? All right, until next time, peace.